Hey, what's up? It's your boy Elf7. Today I got a very special guest. That's right, a fellow member of the Power Anthem Network, my buddy, you know what I mean? Representing. Actually, you know what? I'm going to let him introduce himself. Go ahead.
My name's Franco, and I'm the host of Franc Analysis. I'm also a member of Hear Me Out podcast. And like my friend DJ Elf7 said here, I'm also a member of Power Anthem News Network, PAN.
Okay, cool, man. So, Frank Analysis, how did that whole thing get started?
So, what got me into wanting to inform people on media was first, I saw a lot of people putting up memes and stuff about World War III back in like January and stuff. People weren't really understanding the situation. And prior to that, I spent like 2 to 3 years listening to progressives on YouTube.
Wait, World War III,
Um,
why? Because of the stuff that happened with Iran general and stuff?
Soleimani and Iran, yeah.
Okay, all right.
So then I just felt an urge to want to inform people, and my friends, my buddies over at Hear Me Out podcast, they already had a platform where they talked about like sports and pop culture. So I felt like, why don't I be like a gateway, like a gateway person to inform certain people about what's happening out there in the world, so that they can get more informed about what's actually happening. And so I asked them if I could come on the show. I came on the show, and then I just felt like more of an urge to get out there to like certain events and interview people. So I went out to DC. There was a protest there, hosted by the Answer Coalition, which I'm not sure if you know about them, right? With Mike Preissner, Answer Coalition. They're an anti-war movement, but you know Code Pink, right? Medea Benjamin,
Which one?
Code Pink.
Yes. I've
So they
actually
were
reached out to
all
him
there
several
outside of
times.
the White House. I live in the DC, Maryland area.
Yeah.
I went there. I interviewed Medea Benjamin. I interviewed Anya Parampil,
Oh, that's awesome.
and then I wanted to just keep informing people. So I kept making video after video on Hear Me Out. But the political stuff started overwhelming, like the sports and pop culture stuff. So then it was better for me to have like my own channel too. Like for some people who really want to listen to more about politics, they'll tune into me on my channel, my personal channel. And then like the stuff that's easier to understand, that'll be over at Hear Me Out podcast.
Cool. So you have this interest in activism, politics, things like that. Um, you have some opinions, which is cool. I actually feel like I agree with you on most of your opinions. But what other have you ever tried to like engage in another way besides making videos? Like, have you done any like the activism on the streets, or maybe like engage with campaigns in any other ways besides the
Oh yeah, I
videos?
was really excited to go to more events, but the whole COVID situation and quarantine didn't allow me to do that. But prior to that, I did go to a Tulsi Gabbard town hall. I was hoping she would call on me. I had my hand raised. I was going to ask her about election integrity, but she didn't get to call on me. Still got to take a picture with her though. But that it
Oh,
was a
cool.
great meeting her.
Where are you from, by the
I
way?
went to Where was it?
Where are you from?
I'm from the DC, Maryland area,
And you
but
got
her
her to see you
lives in
speak there?
Virginia.
Or you went to New Hampshire?
I went to Virginia.
Okay, cool.
Virginia is like 30 minutes away from here, like
Yeah, I know.
Fairfax, Virginia, where she was at.
There's a lot of cute Korean chicks in Virginia, right?
Really, you've been there?
No, I just know like, so I don't know why, but the
Well,
Korean girls from Virginia are like the hottest. Like I don't know why. It's all good. Okay.
So, I also went to an event where I interviewed Tulsi Gabbard's supporters in DC when they were trying to get her name on the ballot.
Okay.
So I asked them like why they support Tulsi. I asked them other stuff about like the Hillary Clinton lawsuit, which was hot at the moment. I also recently, since now there's more protests happening, I have been going to some events. I've been going to Black Lives Matter protests. I go to like local community protests where a lot
Cool.
of high schoolers and high school graduates who are in their early college years are community organizing, and I'm asking them like how they got started so that they can influence other people. And yeah, and other than
Nice.
that, I interview
All
people
right.
about like launch and stuff like that.
Cool, man. How did you get into Tulsi, by the way? There's a lot of candidates you could have chosen. How did you end up in the Tulsi camp?
So Tulsi was able to fill in some stuff that I was disappointed with Bernie about. She was the her and Marianne Williamson were the only candidates that were talking about reparations for descendants of slaves. Her foreign policy was really great too, but also her Off Fossil Fuels Act. I studied biology, so I really one of my top priorities is like environmental policy, and I thought that her Off Act was the best foreign policy that any candidate was proposing. And it was supported by 400 different environmental activist groups. So that was a big reason for why I supported Tulsi more than other candidates. But for me, it was between Bernie or Tulsi. Bernie had that whole movement behind them. Um, it's a shame that they couldn't have coalesced more during the primaries. Same thing with like Andrew Yang and Marianne Williamson, all these outsider candidates. We missed out on a big opportunity to take down the establishment candidates who are more united.
Yeah, that's really cool, man. For me, I feel like it was real similar too. You know what I mean? Also, that when Bernie like endorsed Hillary and stuff, like I felt like disappointed about that pretty
Yeah,
things like that. Yeah. So, but yeah, I'm totally on board with the. I'm on the Tulsi train myself, man. You know, also I'm a lot of people. I feel like see like my parents actually were survivors of the Korean War, and that actually affected my family life greatly. You know, so a lot of people aren't really aware of how much damage happens overseas and stuff. But I was really
yeah,
happy to hear an anti-war message. But exactly like the anti-war message, because the TV no longer shows any footage from those war zones and the people dying and suffering, and the sanctions. By the way, I think we had a discussion on that recently, right?
yeah.
They don't see the suffering that these
Got
things cause.
it.
Yeah. So like for them, right, it's the same thing as like, like not having to see their meat killed. You know what I mean? Like they're just like, okay, like out of
Yeah,
sight, out of mind. Yeah,
people
but
only care until until they see it happening firsthand.
yeah,
When they just hear about it in passing, they don't really take the time to put themselves in people's shoes.
yeah,
People who they have never met, never seen before.
yeah. And it's
So
so disappointing to see people like, overall, I'd say I'm still an AOC fan, but it's really sad to see AOC and Bernie for political reasons not helping Tulsi when the policies are great. Like, you're
yeah,
supposed
like
to be an
oh, she's
ally, like, because you're scared of
their
Tulsi.
idea.
You know what I mean? Like,
I
what's there
think
really to be scared of? She's great. Like, why are you scared of
yeah,
her
exactly.
getting some, like, that's
I think
really
the idea that
disturbing.
they
Yeah.
have is that they have to be careful because a lot of people think that she's too controversial because she was calling out like the intelligence community. She was really calling out the military industrial complex, and they're like, it's gonna hurt my career if I like do too much if too much lip service for her. AOC is like she's way too careful, and she cares way more about her own career than about um, the progressive movement. But I
Yeah.
understand it. I
Yeah.
understand it, but I don't agree.
Also the thing is that before she was like a bartender, right? But now she's like getting paid like 175,000 a year. It puts her in a
Mm,
new. She's with a new set of friends, and also, there's constantly people trying to get at her because she has like some influence. So
yeah,
she can't get away from them. So she doesn't really get to connect with people on the ground in a normal
yeah.
way. She's a celebrity now. You know what I mean? So that's unfortunate. But I'm still a fan. But I don't really know to turn your back on someone like Tulsi, who's given up so much. You know what I mean? I can't believe it. Anyways, so look, you've been following like the activist movement and stuff like that, right? Because you feel invested in it, which is fucking awesome, man. Appreciate that. What do you think are some of the most productive things that the progressive movement's doing to like forward its goals?
Like right now, what are we doing? Like
No, just in general, right? Maybe right
in
now, maybe
general.
from before. What do you think are the most productive things that people who are maybe like you and me out there who want to wonder like what they can do to help? Like, what do you
Mhm.
suggest, or what do you think has been successful in the past, just from what you've been following the
Show footage,
news?
show footage that the mainstream media doesn't want to show. Like they want to sensationalize what's going on by saying, oh, look at these like dangerous protesters, they're destroying all this property and stuff. It's not peaceful. What they're not showing you is the millions of other protests that are so peaceful, the community protests, like the small ones where it's just like 50 people that get together outside of a high school, just protesting for Black lives. They don't show that, and they barely talk about that. What they're focusing on is sensationalism, and they're trying to divide. I think another thing that progressives can keep doing is what you and I are doing right now, in which we're discussing and talking about what I'm doing and my experiences, you're talking about your experiences and what you plan on doing, your goals, and bringing all of these different perspectives together, like we get on Big Talk, Little Talk. You know, we all have different experiences. We all live in different parts of the country. And so what that also causes is people get a better understanding. Like someone from the South is going to be a fan of, like, for example, our friend Charles Anderson, Cowboy Hat. Like they're going to be like, yeah, I feel this guy. And then they're going to tune in to Big Talk, Little Talk. They'll hear someone from me or you who's from the Northeast. And they'll be like, okay, I can understand now, like, why people in the Northeast are for certain issues. So I think that's collaboration among progressive commentators and journalists is very, very important to do.
That's awesome, dude. Yeah, the Power Anthem Network, man. If you're a YouTuber and you're watching this, we're definitely inviting you guys to the table. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Fridays come through. You know what I mean? We'd love to have you over. And yeah, I'm excited, man. All right, cool. So right now the situation's crazy, man. This COVID situation, economics, you know what I mean, political stuff, everything's crazy. What do you think right now are, like, you know, the most common misconceptions that are, like, you know, floating around just about the current situation?
The misconceptions right now, oof, there's so many. I personally think a misconception is that just simply voting for the president is what's going to solve our problems. Like people focus in way too much on just the presidential race as if that's what's going to change everything.
I agree.
Um,
100%. Yeah.
it's important to vote for, to vote in November.
Yeah.
You're also voting down ballot there, but you got to also do other stuff. Yeah, voting for down ballot candidates is like I mentioned. You also got to do that. You got to inform yourself about who locally is the most progressive candidates that are running, who isn't taking corporate money. Staying informed by reading certain articles from certain journals that have a good record. I personally keep up with the Grayzone, Minpress News, Consortium News, the Black Agenda Report. Those are all great journals that never had to retract a single article for presenting false information.
Are these webzines or something, or what are these? Are these articles, newspapers? Is this a YouTube show? What are these things?
These are articles on the internet.
Okay.
So you can go to like minpressnews.com. You can go to thegrayzone.com. The
Cool.
Grayzone also does great shows on their
Alright.
YouTube channel.
Cool.
They interview several
I don't think I've seen it yet. I'm excited.
Professors. Yeah, man, I highly recommend checking out the Grayzone for foreign relations, and finding out like which political commentators to listen to, and to try to diversify. Because some commentators talk about more general stuff. Other commentators focus on, like, for example, Julian Assange. Others focus on foreign policy. Others focus on like economics or socialism. So they're trying to diversify. Don't just only listen to like one particular commentator. Here at
All right.
Power Anthem News Network, we have so many different perspectives on.
Yeah. So, look, there's a lot of shows out there. You know what I mean? So why should people check out Frank Analysis versus, you know, other similar content?
I give them a perspective of what's going on in the DC, Maryland area.
Okay.
I'm someone who recently just, got into the game of informing. So if you want to be a part of a journey in which you see the evolution of somebody who got started and seeing how far they get in the next coming years, that'll influence more people to maybe start their own YouTube channels too, and they can start interacting with other people who have YouTube channels.
Yeah.
It's also you'll see the alliance forming that I'm doing with multiple people like you, like D Pierce SSC, like Dak Rulo, like Israel, Big Talk, Little Talk. So my thing is interacting with as many people as I can on my show who have different perspectives, and I talk about a whole bunch of issues. And I also have a biology background, and I'll be trying to integrate more environmental stuff that's going on in our world
Cool.
as I educate myself more about that.
Just so you know, one of my friends are actually, I got some engineer buddies, and they actually worked on something called Swale, which is like sustainable food on a barge out here in New York City, which was pretty cool.
Mhm.
So actually, we got some other biology type projects. They also have a something called Biosphere X, where we're growing sustainable foods and organic foods and stuff like that. So I'm sure we'll be connecting on that too, man. Maybe we could even like set up some projects. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
between here and co-run a project between here and the DC. You know what I mean? That'd be freaking awesome, man. What up,
yeah.
man?
People
Yeah.
don't think about how, what do we need to survive? We need food, right?
Mhm.
If you're not eating right, that's going to affect the way that you're thinking. That's going to affect the way that the way that you understand people.
Yep.
If you're not eating right, you're going to be more cranky. You're going to have more health issues.
Yeah.
You're not going to be less active.
Yo, you see this
So
plant
I'm
back
I'm
here?
down. If you want to talk about
You
food,
see
I'm
this
down.
plant back here? That's
Throwing some food over there.
you know the snake plant, Sansevieria?
Yeah.
NASA actually uses that to like clean air and produce oxygen. You heard about that?
Mm.
And the spider plant too.
Does it make your room smell good,
Not
or
just,
just
but I just
more
use it to
fresh?
like make oxygen. I don't know, but I
Mm.
know like it's supposed to like absorb like toxic like benzenes and stuff. So I'm just into biology, man, too. You know what I mean? So there may be some way like on
Yeah.
environmental projects. You know what I mean? I'm like or food projects which do get tied into like biology projects here in this. You know what I mean? Usually Department of Agriculture usually has like some ties to like biology departments. You're doing biology now, right? You doing anything with government?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, not at the moment. I'm not doing anything with the government at the moment. But
Okay.
I
Well,
think
maybe yeah.
one thing though that I've learned while I was learning biology is that, and I discussed this with like D Pierce, SSC, and Dak Rulo when we were talking about changes that we want to see in our education system. We're not taught early on in grade school and in high school how to conduct scientific research. And that's a big problem because people just believe whatever somebody on the TV tells them to do, and they assume that it's true just because they hear it over and over again, and they don't do the research themselves. They don't even know where to start. They don't even know what a peer-reviewed scientific article is. So I think
Because they don't,
people like
yeah, because the people who are running
learning.
these operations, it becomes easier to make it so people don't question things. So you can just,
Yeah,
and not, it's not always like a horrible, like, like they're like evil, like trying to destroy the world. It's just easier. It's just easier if people don't ask
easier
questions.
to
So
control
you
them.
create a
Hmm.
system where, I mean, you just take the test. Who freaking discovered this scientific discovery in this year?
Yeah,
Can you memorize that? Here's your grade. You know what I mean? If you really start asking questions and really want to test things, that's too much work. I'm sorry. School doesn't work that way. Goodbye. Yeah.
they teach you like what to think. They're like, this
Yeah.
is what you should know. They don't teach you how to think, like how to ask
That's
questions, how to think
yeah.
critically. Like, is what they're telling me, like, is that all true? Let me go look that up myself to confirm it.
That's
A
the
lot of people don't
antithesis
do
of
that. And what
yeah.
what people think, what people think is like researching or like confirming it is just doing a Google search and then just looking at like the top 3 or 4
That's the
things
opposite
that
of
they see.
science. That's the opposite of
When
science, right? That's the opposite of science. It's faith
Yeah,
based.
yeah. These corporations, like they filter the results. Like Google
Yeah.
filters results. Like they put things that they want you to see.
That's really
But if you
sad.
go to another search engine, you're gonna get different results.
It's really quite surreal. It's unnecessary. Actually, just so you guys know
I want
too.
to ask
Yeah.
you, like,
Go ahead.
I was just gonna ask you, what are your thoughts on like social media censorship?
Oh, it's horrible, man. You know what I mean? I don't believe in canceling people. But yo, check it out, man. First of all, the
Hmm.
Brave browser, okay? When you're browsing the internet, you can get paid. Okay. Number two, right? If you set your default search to be Bing, and then you have Microsoft, you earn Microsoft points, and you can redeem that for cash. You get what I mean? So,
Hmm.
not saying that the Bing isn't filtered either, because honestly, right? Because of Google forces so much, controls so much search, right? That those are the highest results anyways, because those are the ones that are the busiest. You get what I mean? So even if
Hmm.
you're on Bing, you're gonna get Googleized results.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Yeah,
yeah,
because that's
that,
where all the traffic's going anyways, because Google's making it that way.
yeah. And the thing about like peer-reviewed scientific papers, Google doesn't give you that, like normal Google. You got to go like on Google Scholar, you got to go on PubMed, or you got to go to other search engines that are focused mainly on like scholarly articles. And people also got to like read more books.
All right.
Like,
So I know you said that you're in your beginning stages, right? Yeah. So
mhm.
far, how has your perspective changed? Have you changed? Maybe about the same. I don't know. Maybe something has
uh,
changed. You've seen some things, man. Like, do you believe in the
I have
system
to be
more or
more
less?
careful with how I word
Wait.
things. I have to
Something.
be
I think my
more
Skype. I
careful.
don't know. Something's making weird noises. Wait, hold up. I know what it is. I'm sorry. Give me a second.
It's all good.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry about that. Okay. Whatever we just said, we should probably repeat. Yeah. I'm sorry.
All right. It's all good. I was just saying that one thing that I'm starting to do more of now is I'm being more careful with what I word things, because if I word things the wrong way, people are gonna get the wrong idea, and then they're gonna get mad at me or cancel me or like give me like a bad rap and dislike me. So I've been more cautious with the way I say things, like even on Twitter and stuff. Like I gotta be careful with how I say things. Um, I've been like making myself learn more about certain things before I make a video about it, or before like I go on somebody's channel and discuss it. Because before that, I would just like glance at an article and then just be, all right, I get the idea, and then that's it. But I'm actually making myself read a little bit more than I used to, or rather than just only listening to people talk on progressive YouTube, I'm doing some more research myself.
Let's talk about how that's
In addition,
developing, right? Yeah. So how does that like
Mhm.
meld with your plans for the future? Like, what's your future personal plans? What's your plans like, for your channel? You got any interesting videos coming up? Because right now, I mean, you say like you're doing more reading, you're doing more interaction, right? So how is this what you're currently doing building into your plans for the future? And what are those future
So
plans?
as I learn more in like, so I'm in continuing my graduate career. I'm going to study environmental science and public policy. So I'm going to take like what I learned from that and apply it onto like my channel. And if I go in towards the career of like becoming a professor, working in academia, I'm not only informing people like in academia, like informing students, I'm also informing people like on YouTube. And I'm also bringing the perspective of what I learned from other people, like other progressives, and I'm bringing that to academia. I'm informing my colleagues, because a lot of science people, like in the science department, they just accept whatever the mainstream news tells them. Like right now, like the current generation that's like
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
professor.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. You really
Mhm.
think they really accept it, or do you think that they know about it? They're cynical, yeah, and they just decided to just take the money and be quiet about it.
No,
They're not dumb. They know what's up.
they're so invested in their work.
Yeah.
Like they're focused on like specific issues in biology,
Right.
like
So they're
studying
not paying attention to
frogs,
this
they're
stuff.
studying, yeah, or like studying like a certain virus, that they're not spending enough time informing themselves about other stuff that's going on in the world. And so they just rely on what the mainstream news tells them. And that's traditionally how it was. Like that's how they grew up, and I understand it. But you got to do more than that. Like the mainstream news is not going to tell you the whole truth. And you and I know that they don't do that. And they purposely mislead people. So I'm trying to influence that. Even people like my age, like other graduate students are misinformed. So I'm hoping to change the way people think in academia too.
Cool, man.
In addition to me trying to help people change the way they think, and who tune into my YouTube channel.
Yo, just so you know, another thing that I'm trying to do is I would love to air in DC as well. Yeah, I'm trying to find like a
Yeah.
bunch of other YouTubers and then get into the local cable access network. So let's say, for example, right, like we each made like a 10-minute short, right? We got 6 guys in, one guy from New York, we got one guy from DC, another guy from Cali, right? Maybe Colorado, whatever, right? We got like 6 10-minute shorts. We run an hour program on all of our local cable access and we get national distribution for our stuff in all the major cities. You know what I mean? I think that's just good to like, get sponsorships, you know what I mean? And also, I just think it's cool for us to, we might even develop a following there and have people being able to like, hook us up with footage and stuff like that, you know what I mean? And help them out too. Yeah?
Yeah, it'll be difficult though, because a lot of cable news is owned by like corporations who want to
There's
suppress.
something called cable access, yeah?
Mm.
Which is like usually community based. You never like went to like turned on your cable and you went to this weird channel that was like mad high up and it looked super ghetto, like so ghetto, like you're like it looked like it was shot on a camcorder. You ever see that stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, that we could get on there.
We
I
could
made it
do
sound
that,
so good,
but
right? Huh?
yeah, that would be good, but I would have to see like if that'll be like significant enough. Like right now, people are tuning out of cable and they're looking more
It's all
towards
good.
like
Yeah.
streaming and all that.
That's true.
But
That's
yeah,
true. That's true. But I think we could also air this show right together, like on another like YouTube channel or something, right? Yeah, and also have more content, crossovers. You know what I mean? It's just an idea, yeah. But I really like this idea of having people in different
yeah. Like
geographic
if we see
areas.
like that it could be something significant,
Yeah,
then I'm down for it.
cool, man. All right, so
Yeah.
what's the major way that people? Okay, so you got your YouTube, you got your Twitter, right? Before we go, I want you to like tell everybody like all the ways that they can get at you. You got a Reddit? I don't know. You should make a
I
subreddit,
don't
man.
have Reddit.
Yeah.
I have a Twitter. It's at B43Franco. My YouTube channel is Frank Analysis.
With a C?
I'm also with a C. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
So it's not a K. Um, and I'm also at Hear Me Out Podcast. It's another YouTube channel. If you want to like tune into news about sports and pop culture, I have colleagues that talk about that over on that channel, and I'm
Cool.
there talking about politics. And you can also find me on Big Talk, Little Talk, where we get into a lot of heated debates. Me, DJ, L7 versus Israel and Charles Anderson of the Lone Wolf Podcast. So we get at it. Don't
Let's see what's up. Let's see what's up. Yeah. About to get
and
into it
then
right
there's
now.
also drinking involved. Like there's a lot of
Sometimes, yeah.
drunk talk happening over there,
We'll see.
and
Yeah.
people being silly.
Yeah. Israel's always in the bathroom puking. It's hilarious. Yeah. It's a good time. All right. I'll see you soon, man. I'll see you
All
later
right.
tonight, man. Have a good one. Peace.
Thanks for having me on, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, man. Thank you. All right. Peace,
Take care.
man. All right. These videos are independently produced and funded, and your support is deeply appreciated. Liking the video and subscribing helps the channel, and ringing the bell icon will keep you notified as to when we upload new content. You can also check out our other social media platforms. We'd love to hear from you. We also have our event calendar, links in the description. On our Reddit, you can come in and get on the conversation and check out some of the memes. Like and share, it really helps us in the YouTube algorithm. Every week on Sunday, we have a live online meeting where you can join us in working to create and nurture the change that we need. I'd like to invite you to check out some of our other videos. Until next time, may all your actions bring you success. Stay focused, stay strong, and reinvest in yourself as well as your community. Together, our efforts can be greater than the sum of the parts. The power is in your